Everything litty, you know that we hot. You need some therapy, go to the doc. Trying to get stronger, go to the joc. Doc and the Joc, talks on the rocks. Where life lessons will be taught, and you can drink in class, this is the spot. So every Tuesday, tune in, grab a glass and invite a friend. This is the Doc and the Joc.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Doc and the Joc. I am the Doc.
What up? It's your boy Shawty Parker. I am the Joc, back in the building.
And first, I just want to thank you all for tuning in last week. We had so much interaction and just so much excitement about the podcast. So I just want to thank you all, the viewers. So today, we want to stay in the same vein of relationships, right? I keep getting a lot of feedback about relationships. And Shawty, what I hear a lot about is people are really, really getting tired of going out on dates. And after about the third or fourth interaction, they start realizing that who they're dating is not quite who they thought they were dating.
Mm, Makes sense. It's kind of what we talked about last time. Is that interview process.
Yeah, it's that representative, like you
hmm
said, right? Like
hmm
you said last week that you off rip just assume that you're meeting somebody's representative.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
More
how
than
long
likely.
does that last?
How long can a person lie?
Forever.
You know what
what
I'm saying?
what kind of question is
Uh, I, I mean, I mean,
that?
I mean, I was being funny, but I mean, I think it's gonna differ for each and every one. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a lot of different factors that kind of help control or make that take place. Because I mean, me personally, I don't think you never really truly meet someone till you live with
mm, that's gonna be deep. You know why? And we can get through this a little maybe if we have time. But we have a lot of devout Christians who would argue differently, or wouldn't be their comfort zone, right?
them. I try to stay away from politics and religion.
I hear you. I hear you. I definitely echo the sentiment though. Like I truly think that you really don't know a person until you're in their environment, until you've seen them, in their comfort zone. You really don't know a person. But can we back up a minute? Why do you think that is? Like what do you think drives people to not be, you know, themselves?
Um, I think it's because first of all, things can get things can get heavy with a first impression, right?
Say more
So,
about that. What you
so what I
mean?
mean by you don't want to spill your life to a person when you first meet them. So that's what I mean by you don't want things to be too heavy on a first impression. But you also kind of want to be somewhat genuine, and you almost kind of want to over embellish some things to make sure you get that second date or that second interview.
So what are the okay? I follow you.
That's how I have to speak for it metaphorically, like for an
Right. No, I
interview.
follow you. But so help me understand when you say over embellish some things. Like what are
Like
some things that would be okay to over embellish?
like a resume.
Okay.
Speaking, I type 120 words a minute. You know what I'm saying? But
Knowing
I'm
damn
really
well.
around, right? I'm really around, maybe 90. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, okay, so that's an okay embellishment, right? My issue is you say that you type 120 words a minute,
Mhm.
and you're really more around 70. You know.
Right. So yeah, I mean, so even in a relationship term, it can be something simple as like, you know, uh, well, with that, so what do you do? I'm an entrepreneur, right? That could
Wait a
be
minute. Wait a minute.
so.
So
But I'm just
so
talking
is
about
that
the.
an answer that because I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
I would encourage people to push back on that. If someone comes out, and that's the answer, it's too vague.
Right. That's kind of my point. So that's kind of my point with in terms of like a resume. You say these great things, but it's not very just always. It can be, how can I say, taken a thousand different ways. So I'm an entrepreneur, and just to be honest, right now I am an entrepreneur. I work for myself, so I wouldn't be
Self-employed.
right. So I wouldn't be lying. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just about the degrees of how successful you are as an entrepreneur.
So the problem is not that you use the term entrepreneur, right? Because
Mhm.
it fits. But couldn't we argue that drug dealers are entrepreneurs as well? They're self employed.
Right, that
So
wouldn't be an
so again
argument. They are.
so again here's where the problem comes, right? Because if you're
So
using,
listen, I can't.
am I really getting a sense of who you are by using that term?
So once again, I'm trying to get invited to a second interview. So as opposed to me telling you that I'm a drug kingpin, I'm gonna say I'm an entrepreneur, right?
I'm glad you brought that up. So here's the problem. You let's go with your analogy, drug kingpin. Now, what if that doesn't work for me? Like, what if I am just totally
Hmm.
opposed to being involved with someone who does that line of work?
And we'll find that out when you like. We'll
But now
find out in the next interview.
you didn't dupe me.
But I didn't
No,
dupe
so
you.
let me go back.
I am an entrepreneur.
Why would you want to be with someone who you have the sense that may not want to be with you because of certain things about yourself?
Well, again, we a lot of things you don't just find out up front. I might not find out like up front. Once I find, well, not up front, but the second interview, I might find out that you know, you lean one way politically, and we didn't talk about that in the first time I met you because it just wasn't the right time and setting. It was just a breaking of the ice type of thing.
So I agree with you. I personally think, and you can challenge me. You will. I'm not. I don't. You don't need permission. But anyway, I think that there are certain things that make sense
Hmm.
to ease into, your getting to know you stage, right? And
Hmm.
then I think that there are certain things just don't make sense at all.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's levels to everything.
So when I think of things that may be too heavy, right? So, for example, real situation. I had a client who uh, was bipolar or
Okay.
is, right, but this was like maybe 6 7 years ago, and so right after her initial diagnosis, every time she went on a date, she literally led with the story of how she got diagnosed, which was I'm talking about first date. Hey, just meeting each other, right? Exactly. And so then she's on my couch and she's like, now she's all upset because she feels like being bipolar, I'm never gonna date. And I was like, maybe not, but can we scale back the story some?
So that's what I'm saying. So if she don't tell the man that on the first date, did she dupe him?
No, so this is where I said I think that there's certain things that are too heavy to get into on the first few dates, right? Now,
Okay.
if we
Yeah, me
go
being a drug
because
kingpin. It look like you
nah,
too
that's
heavy on the first
different.
date.
And I'm that's totally different. Now, and let me say
Why?
why. My
Okay.
Her mental health status is not something that I would want her to share with any and everybody. I just don't think that that type of information is something that everybody needs to know, right? Now, as you get, more comfortable with this individual, and maybe you see things are going in a direction that makes sense. Now we can have a conversation. What
Let-
it also does is it gives her an opportunity to let him see her m- more than just her mental health,
mhm.
stuff, right? Because I think that people can balance that out. But if the first thing I learn about you is, what I'm saying, you didn't snapped and all kind of other stuff, then it's like, oh my God, like what am I really getting into? And I keep trying to, I've always tried to tell her, you are more than just your mental health diagnosis, right? Like
Mhm.
there's so much, like I mean, she has so much going for her. But that was like the only thing she let. And like people couldn't even get past that
So
because of everything,
yeah. So all I'm doing, I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm trying to tell you, in my opinion, it's the same thing. You just dressing it up a different way. Because what I'm getting at is, I want to know off the muscle if you got something like that going on mentally.
Why?
I need to know because I can go on and cut bait right then.
That's my point.
So we know what I'm saying. We
But
saying,
what if this person, you know, may have that struggle,
mhm.
but they have it all under control, right? They have so many other things going on for them, and that's just one. Because I'm gonna say
Listen,
this: all of us have some level of fucked upness.
listen.
We all do.
I'm a drug kingpin. I just
But let
had,
me tell you
I got
what.
a lot
So
of
let me
good
tell you the
things going
difference.
on
Let me
with
tell
me
you the
too.
difference, right? The difference
I hand out
is
turkeys.
if I'm bipolar and you're a drug king, right?
Mhm.
And we get pulled over by the police,
Okay.
we ain't going to prison
Okay.
because I'm bipolar.
I
But there
get it.
is a chance we go to prison because you a drug king.
I get it.
So it's
Well, listen,
totally different.
it also some things with your bipolarism that granted you might not take your medicine for, so it's some shit that can
True.
happen with you that definitely wouldn't happen to me because I ain't bipolar.
That's true. But the
I'm
thing
saying
is,
you can dress
my
the horse
hold
up
on,
any
hold
kind of
on.
way.
But my stuff ain't putting you in harm way.
If you had some kind of episode, he
So
trying to dress
what
up the
I'm
donkey
saying
and
is
call it a horse.
there's
It's still a
levels to
donkey.
there's levels to everything.
So where are we?
Where are we? We're back at why people don't feel comfortable showing their true colors in the beginning.
And to the point that we was talking about it, granted we went all the way around with the other side of that conversation, but that's kind of the point though. It's because there are certain things that you just don't want to be truthful and upfront with because you don't want to lessen your chances of meeting this person again. So whether you tell all the truth or some of the truth, that's the reason why you're doing it because you're trying to increase your chances to meet that person or move forward with that person.
So again, I think I find it hard. Sometimes I don't understand that, right? Because if the goal is to meet someone who's
Mm-hmm.
really into me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yet I'm not giving you an opportunity to really be into me because I'm presenting something that is not me for real.
Stop. So if that's the case, we might as well just walk around with our deal breakers on our forehead. You know what I'm saying? Just have the rules written down on your forehead on
What?
what you're gonna deal. What I'm saying is, like, no one is. I mean, like I said, there's a reason we trying to get to the reason. I'm sure there are many different reasons, but I keep going back to it. You're meeting that representative in that first interview or that first date because no one is gonna be 100% truthful because of the likelihood of you saying something that that person may not like
And
and,
if
and
that
be a deal breaker.
so if someone so let's say that happened. What's so bad about that? What's so bad about I say something that this guy doesn't really like and then he doesn't want to kick it with me no more. Like
Well,
wouldn't you rather know that in the beginning?
but sometimes it's complicated,
What's
right?
complicated? Give me an
Because because
example.
what I'm getting at is because I meet you and see you don't mean I'm trying to have the house, the picket fence, and the two kids and all the dogs. I might just like what you have on. It might happen just to want to maybe get in under what you got on, and that's just that simple.
So here we go. We're talking about motive, right? So like what is the motive for us interacting or getting to know each other?
Hmm.
Does that change the level of conversation you have with this person? If you met someone and you just trying to get in their clothes versus what? Or what you said was um, that if you saw a woman and she looked nice, and maybe your whole objective was just that you wanted to be sexual with her. And my question is, okay, does that change the level of conversation you have?
Yeah, for sure. It changes the approach and everything.
Hmm. In what way?
Everything changes. Like you say, you're not. I mean, every individual is different. I don't want you to try. I don't want to try to put out something
Gen-
in the sense that.
no, but no, I don't want you to out yourself. I'm
No,
asking just
yeah.
in. I'm saying
I'm not
generally.
talking about. I'm never talking about me anyway.
I'm
Personally,
just talking about generally,
well,
right?
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to, but I don't also, like you said, I'm also not trying to put out a message of where people, when they generally meet each other, they're trying to dupe somebody. I don't want to put that out there either,
Okay.
right?
But I do think that part of okay. So let's take that off the table. Let's just assume that two people have met each other and they both want to see if this if they're
Mm-hmm.
if they're compatible and maybe move forward with something long term. So if that is the scenario, then again, I think I still struggle with why people aren't honest. And to be
I
honest, hold
mean,
on, but to be honest doesn't mean I have to go all in and tell you everything about my life, right? But what it does mean is that nothing I said to you was inauthentic.
Right. I think you can be honest and not also just be overbearing and just tell everything and just bare your soul. Like I mean, I was being funny. Like I said, if I'm an entrepreneur, I mean, I really am an entrepreneur. Now, if you want to be more specific and go into me exactly what I want to do, I mean, I might feel like that's maybe not the appropriate time to tell you right then and there anyway. I'm gonna be honest with you, me personally. Now, I am talking about myself. Me personally, that's one of the things that killed me with relationships. Question when you meet somebody before they even break the ice. That's the first thing they ask you. So what you do? I have a name first. How about what's my name? Where you from? You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But that's the first thing they ask you. I saw you sitting over here. What's going on? I see you drink this. So what is it that you do? Yeah, people ask you that before they ask your name.
Hmm. So that's interesting from your perspective because I've actually been accused of not asking somebody what they do.
Mm.
Like they were like, "You didn't even ask me what I do for a living."
Now I wonder if that's
And this was
from
literally the first time I met someone. We just sit next to each other, and I didn't ask.
but I wonder if that more tied into gender.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So like because
Because I think well, I don't want to say I think it just comes. Oh damn! I don't think it said it right. Say it right after I said it. I just think that it's maybe more common or maybe more of a conversational piece for you to ask a male, even if a male asks a male or a female asks a male what they do.
so here's the
But
thing.
me personally, I don't like to lead with that.
Right.
That's one of the
So
last things
that's
I
what I
want
was
to
gonna
ask.
say. Like, it's hard because to listen to you, feel a way about a woman asking you what you do for a living, right?
Anybody.
Or anybody,
Mm-hmm.
and then for me to tell you like, the opposite side of, someone. I don't know if I want to say feeling offended. Well, I do think the person was offended. I think I think that because I didn't ask him what he did for a living, it was almost like he was feeling like I wasn't
Wasn't into
interested.
him.
Yeah,
See, I'm the total opposite. I think that's too intrusive.
I do. I actually do too. But I think that probably different reasons. I just think because of what I do for a
Me
living,
too.
I don't like. I don't really like. If I'm just out,
Mm-hmm.
I don't lead with that. I don't like to lead with that because it's just
I,
I just don't.
I say this and I say it jokingly, but I really be meaning it. I tell you what I do, then the first thing I say, and I'm not on the clock.
Mm. What do
Because
you?
soon as I tell somebody what they want to do, well, since I didn't know, well, then it turned into a work conversation.
That's my
You know what I'm
point.
saying?
That's my
Can the
whole
judge
point.
do this? Can they do that?
That's my whole point. I do not like telling people what I do for a living because it's going to turn into a group therapy session
Mm-hmm.
or individual, whatever it is. It's going to be a therapy session.
Huh.
And for me, no,
So that's not you. So that's not you not being honest. Not that you hiding the truth, right?
I ain't gonna lie to you.
It
Sometimes I
just
do lie. I ain't gonna lie.
But to your point, that could just be a little too intrusive for the first conversation or the first start of the conversation, or however you want to look at it.
Yeah,
So I always say it's levels to everything, right?
yeah.
I guess I was getting at so Doc, are you duping people when you first meet them? That's
I
my
mean, I
question to
guess
you.
if in a sense, yeah. If, I mean, I'll say
So
this.
Doc, so Doc, so hold on, Doc. Don't be trying to squirm out of this.
I'm always gonna find a
So
way to
so so why aren't you being just like you asked the question? So why aren't the people now we're not talking about people, we're talking about you. Why aren't you being truthful off the muscle?
I'm so glad we went in this direction because I think that my answer to this question
I love it when the tables be
is
turned on you.
somewhat opposite to what other people think, right? I think that for me, if the feedback that I hear is that people do it because sometimes it could be too much too
So we're
soon,
not
too
talking
heavy,
about you
right?
right now. We're
No,
talking
no,
about
I'm
okay.
just saying I'm getting to the
Okay.
question, right? So, but for me, it's actually the opposite. Sometimes I don't know if someone is now going to be interested in me because of me or because of what I do, and then
Mm-hmm.
your perception of what comes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been with I have had a lot of people, both men and women, for different reasons, friendships or whatever want to attach themselves to me because of my title and what they think comes along with that. So I'm gonna be honest. I've been burnt enough to where I'm really leery to want someone to know that about me because I don't know. So like now, are you liking me more because I'm a doctor,
Mhm.
or do you really like Sandy?
So I took this from our first episode, and I'm gonna use this how I'm getting better. I try to tell people I try to get better all the time. So I took this out of a lot of things we talked about our first episode. This is what I took. One of the main things I took from it. So this is what I heard you say, right? And I think that's so important, though. I really
Yeah.
do, because no matter what somebody says,
You want to make sure.
but even though I say something, well, even though you said something, no matter what you meant, I'm gonna hear it and interpret it the way that I hear it, right?
Absolutely.
So this is what I heard you say, even though what you just said, but this is how I interpret. This is what I heard you say. So as truthful as you would like for people to be, sinuses, as truthful as you would like people to be, right? For you, it's almost a negative for you to be truthful, because if you be truthful, that can almost cause somebody else to be, I guess, somewhat deceitful and mischievous, because now they're going after you for what you can do for them and who you are, not necessarily as opposed they may have came to you in a genuine form at first, but because you were being honest, that could change their mindset.
So I think you're there almost, right? So I do. So of course I don't have a tattoo that says I'm a doctor. So
Right.
if someone approaches me, you know, they don't necessarily know what I do for a living. So I do think that if someone approaches me, there's some type of attraction there, right?
Yeah.
My concern is now, you know, does your level of attraction grow purely because of what I do for a
That what I
living,
just said
as
too.
opposed to really getting to know me,
And that
right?
what I'm saying. That what I just
Right.
said. Because it's just like, so if I meet you, not I just speaking in general. So if I see you across the room and I'm like, damn, she kind of fine, she kind of attractive. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be, I'm gonna slide over there and say something to you.
Right.
And I still have a physical attraction to you, right?
Hmm.
Then if you like, okay, yeah, such and I'm a doctor. Now depending on my personality, who I am, I can be like, oh well, damn, she a doctor? Oh, she getting to the money then. So I literally go from the physical attraction that I had and the genuine attraction that I had to now some bigger scheming type things,
Exactly.
right?
Because what if, like you said earlier, what if you saw me from across the room and I looked good, and as you were approaching me, your whole thing was I just want to hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you through conversation you figure out what I do.
Now I'm getting doctor draws.
Right. So now it's I still don't really want to get to know her for real. I still ain't trying to be on that type of time. But I ain't gonna just hit and leave because I
Mm.
maybe I can milk this a little bit further. So again, and let me
Wow.
say this: it's not that I assume that everybody is is on some that type of time. I don't assume that.
And to go back to my original point, we all are on some type of time, or we want to get to that next interview.
And I think the motive for me behind why you want to get to the next interview is important.
And even you're not going to be as truthful about who you are, because guess what? You're not trying to run this person away or have them possibly change their mind frame just because they just found out who I am. You want to probably meet them again and see if they keep that same energy. And at some point, you're going to tell them exactly what you do and who you are, because you feel comfortable. They don't pass enough interviews, right?
Hmm.
I know the job just be talking. I know a lot of shit I say don't sound like it makes sense, but trust me,
So I
it
guess
makes
for
sense.
me, and you, okay, point well taken.
Mm,
I will say for me, and maybe this is why you say I always try to make it fit whatever I want.
you
I
do.
I hear it differently because of the motive behind why someone. So like for me, I'm not being less than forthcoming because I'm trying to get to the next interview, and I feel like if I tell you the truth, I might not. I'm being less than forthcoming more so than because I'm trying to see what you want. So like it's kind of in reverse, but I get what you're
Yeah, yeah,
saying.
I get it. Yeah.
So yeah, everybody has a reason.
Ooh-wee.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Somebody ask the question and answer their own question.
point well taken. I guess everybody has reasons why we wouldn't be truthful, and I think that because of who we are as humans, some reasons are more understandable than others. Can
Hmm.
we agree to that?
Yeah, and ultimately, I think also, like I said, a lot of this is tongue in cheek, man. Just a lot of joking, but there's a lot of seriousness in this too. And I would try to be as serious as I can now because I do a lot of joking. But just to be honest, I mean that's kind of the point. Like when you meet somebody as genuine as you want to be, you just can't.
Mm.
You just can't for your reasons and my reasons and multiple different other reasons. Like some things are just too heavy, and you have to go through multiple interviews, meaning multiple dates, until you really start displaying the stuff that you think people should tell you in the first interview.
So, can the message be to find ways to give people who you are in doses, as opposed to
Right.
being disingenuine or inauthentic?
Right. So, and to that point, yes, you are correct. And I wasn't saying, and I wouldn't, I don't like to use well, some people do, but I'm not talking about the people who are just being totally disingenuous, just lying off the muscle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about those people.
Right.
I'm just talking about even two fairly good, honest people with great intentions who want to meet each other and they happen to meet each other. You still, to your point, have to let information out in doses.
So can we? So I think what I hear a lot of people say is, so like I have a friend who he is very well off, right? Has never been married, has no kids, has no desire to ever be married or have kids. Yet when he meets women, he he never says, I don't want to be married, but he always gives a statement that would allow a woman to think that
He's
this
open to it.
possible when it's
Right.
really not.
Because he don't want to possibly kill his shot.
So then my question is, what are you taking a shot at? Because do
Well,
you really
cha-
want to be with,
things
do
change.
you want to be with a partner who actually doesn't want? So if I want kids and you don't, why would we even continue to try to foster anything?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I see. I see.
because eventually it's going to blow
Right,
up,
right, right.
right? So
Uh, to that point, I can't. I don't. I mean, I can't run around that one. To your point, I mean that's pretty straightforward.
it
You
is.
want kids. I don't want kids. People do change, but like me, I'm at an age right now. Like I'm a man. If I tell you I don't want kids at my age, trust me, I don't want kids. My mind ain't changing at this point, right? But
Right.
things do happen. So if I would have had one, it'd be like, I'm going there. But what I'm getting at is, he may be coming from the standpoint of like he don't want kids because he hasn't met the right one to have kids with. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes if you meet the right one, you might not want to, but you're not opposed to it. So I'm not tricking you when I say I don't necessarily want kids, but with you, I'm open to it if
That's
it
exactly
happens.
what he says. The truth is,
Yeah.
he don't want no kids.
Okay, well that's
I don't
different.
care if it was Oprah.
Yeah, yeah, see that how I'm gonna let you know off the muscle. So I don't want 'em. I mean, so if that's a deal breaker, then I understand. Some things just ain't meant to be. So that's in that
So I was
situation
just
that's
using
different.
that as an example because I think that if there are other things that are similar to that people lie about, and so what I face a lot is you know people end up on my couch crying, feeling like they are unlovable or unlikable or whatever. When the truth is, who you presented yourself to be
Mm.
was was you connected yourself with someone or someone connected themselves to you thinking that you were one thing.
With a certain ideology.
Right, because this is how you spoke to them, right?
Hmm.
And then over time they start to realize that who you said you were isn't quite who you
Right.
are. So is it that you're unlikable or unlovable, or is it that you haven't even given people an opportunity to get to know who you really are?
Well, wow, we about to say the same thing different. Because I was just about to, I was about to come against you until you wrapped it up with that. But ultimately, I guess that's the question. Nobody knows in the beginning. I'm saying no matter how truthful you want to be coming out, it's just so many layers of the onion that's gonna always be peeled back. You just never. That's why I said in the beginning, you never really know someone until you live with. I don't care how many dates y'all go on with, how many times you been dating, how many times y'all don't went out of town and stayed together for 3 days. It ain't like living with somebody.
It ain't.
You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I just don't think you get to know them till you live with somebody.
I agree.
So to me, there's always an interview process until you know what I'm saying. Like as our parents would say, shacking up until you shack up with somebody.
You know, you said a few times that you really don't know who a person is until you live with them.
Mm-hmm.
What does that? Before I even say what I was gonna say, like so, does that change things for you? Like once you live with someone,
It can.
okay,
It can. Everybody is different. I can only speak for myself. Just to give you some examples, like I mean, it can be simple things. It's like I sleep with the TV off. You sleep with the TV on.
hmm
That shit's it's
could be
very simple,
irritating. Yeah,
but that's gonna be a
over
big
time,
problem.
it could be
Over
irritating.
time, shit, I need some sleep every night. But I'm saying I can't sleep with the TV on. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a person who sleep with the TV on for that, you don't fuck around and be sleeping in a separate room. You know what I'm saying? And we
The
just got
first week,
married. You know what I'm saying? So and it
but
seems very
but
simple,
but
but that's a big
but Shawty,
thing.
to that point, you would know that before we moved in, right? Because if we go out, if we go on vacation for 3 4 days, you'd already know that. So I'm
Yeah,
talking about
but
stuff
even
that
that though, even in those 3 4 nights, guess what? To your point, it probably wouldn't be a big deal for 3 4 nights.
that's my point.
No, I
That's
said to
why I
your
said
point. I was saying,
over
yeah, yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah.
over
So I
time,
get
because again, a lot of us are willing to put up with things, for a short period of time.
you.
Over time, it does become a problem.
Hmm.
Like doing marriage counseling, that's what I see.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is that the, they're not coming in because of new presentations or something I just learned.
Right.
They're coming in because the stuff that I
Since the
used
beginning
to
of the
think
time.
I could deal with, I can't. And you know why? Because because it's 82 other things that I also now have to deal with. See, when it was only 8 things I was dealing with,
Hmm.
I could do
Right.
that.
Right.
But then when you added, the
Listen,
the 60 some odd other things, now I'm not willing to deal with all
that's just like if I snore, it don't bother me. I'm asleep.
that.
You see what I'm saying? But to the partner, you over there tossing and
I'm
turning, you
pissing them
bumping,
up.
and yeah, after 6 months of that, you about ready to kick somebody out. So what I'm saying, these are things you don't know. You know what I'm saying? These are things you don't know until you live with
I swear
somebody.
to God, I'm laughing because I had three clients that had to get a CPAP because like literally they were about to get divorced. It was just that bad.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
it was,
It
yeah.
be little simple thing like that you just don't know. Like everything is cool because when you go on these little vacations and on these little dates and things, you're only dealing with your better half. Notice I said better half. You're only dealing with your better half in small doses, and you're dealing with them in a capacity that you can.
It's manageable,
Right,
right?
right.
Because you can put up with anything for 72 hours, 96 hours, right?
Hmm.
But when you're talking about this is my residence, yo, we got the same address, and you're not leaving no time.
Hmm.
Like yeah, it changes things.
So let me ask you this right here. Once again, I'm always joking. I guess I'm always coming from a silly side. But once again, it's something small, but these things can be very, very big. So that's just like when you're talking about meeting your representative, you know what I'm saying? You want to be all truthful and everything. Can I just fart when I first meet you? I mean, it's a bodily function. You know what I'm saying?
So
Everybody does it.
everybody's different, right? I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Like when does it come? When does it come okay
I think
for me to stop meeting
I
your?
don't know how to answer that question for everybody. Because that shit, my kids will tell you. Like, that is one of the things, especially if you had enough time to get your butt up and do it somewhere else. It's one thing if you laughing and and then it comes out. That happens, right? Or if you know, there are situations where it just happens, and then there are situations where you know.
But I'm your better half.
Because
if you know me.
But
I ain't finna go nowhere.
You say in the beginning, right?
Right. Well, I'm not just speaking.
So we haven't built up enough equity for me to say I ain't going nowhere.
So again.
But if let's say we've been dating, about I don't know, I don't want to put a time frame on it because everybody's gonna be like, well, Doc said 90 days and then I can fart. No, I'm not. I don't want.
So in your book, though, that's one of the things we can definitely check that we don't have to be truthful about and just be yourself on the first date.
What you mean? Am I saying that I'm cool with somebody farting on the first date and I'm like, okay.
But you want me to be myself? You want me to be me and be honest and just be who I am?
Being you.
So get with.
So does that mean that we don't need to brush our teeth and wash our ass either? Because at some point, all of that.
Listen,
come on.
No. Listen. Now
it's about. Isn't it? At some point, it's about tact.
Now, if you don't brush your teeth and gargle or something every day, or that's a whole nother story. Farting is a normal biological thing that everybody does every day, right?
Maybe.
So I'm just going to your point of being true. The question was, why don't people be truthful and honest?
So at what point in the date would somebody fart? Like if we had dinner, because that's not something.
That's kind of my point. You never know.
Because my thing is, I don't personally believe that it is respectful to fart while I'm eating.
Okay, so that's just your opinion.
But that's my opinion. Right. So like, I think.
So get what? If I farted, guess what? I wouldn't get a second date, probably, right? So I gotta hold back my truth.
Hold on. Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. I would say, because I live in shades of gray, that's not the end. It's always a maybe for me. Like it depends on the situation. So like something happened, right? Like I mean,
anytime on the first date, we don't have to be eating just anytime.
Right. I'm just saying something could happen. Like the night before, you could have been sick. I mean, anything. No, it could be anything.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the scenario because clearly it's complicated with you.
It is.
We first date. We walking down the mall through the shopping center. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just, and it should be, and I'm just saying,
see what I gotta put up with?
And it should just be that simple. Just keep walking. We had a conversation that we was having.
How long have we known each other?
We just met.
So we had a few conversations.
So what I'm saying, I'm just saying that to make a point. So what I'm saying, so I need to hold my truth so I can make it to the next date. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna just fart in front of you because that's a truth you just don't need to know about me right now that I do that around nobody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. So I can't let you know my truth. The fact that I got a tear over here in my eye, I'm laughing. So I can't let you know my truth because I want to get a chance to make the second date. Because I just let one rip off the muscle. You probably ain't gonna be like, yeah, Shaw, let's meet next week, same time.
Instead of the doc answering this, I would love for you guys to answer it in the comments, men and women. Because what I would argue,
I'm being facetious though. I'm not being told. I'm being funny.
But let me tell you where the double standard is. I would argue that if you farted or if a man farted, a woman would be more likely to overlook it. But if a woman farted, I think a man would be like, hell no. And I'm going to tell you this. I have literally heard men say, I know women right now that have been with their dudes for years. For years. Yes.
But see, I'll probably start, I'm young. I'd be 100 with you. I'll probably be like,
damn.
But I'm going to be laughing, but it's cool though. It ain't gonna
change your perception.
Okay, I would do it.
Cause you're different, but I promise you, I know females right now who still can't have Like not
Listen,
they wait till they men and they've been together for years with an S on the end,
that's what
and
I'm
you're waiting
saying.
for your dude to leave to even have a bowel
Listen,
movement, and y'all been living together for forever.
I'm sitting across from a highly educated lady right now who just basically stated if motherfucker fart on the first date, it's a good
Uh,
chance you ain't getting a second date. So I know
us-
what you saying. Like, literally.
wait. Now I said
Based depending on the
there is
situation.
always
Yeah, depending on the
because
situation.
what I'm gonna say is, and
Listen,
I'm about to
you
say,
just told
ladies,
him you just told him a
forgive me because
nice
I'm
joke
about to give y'all
and
some.
he
I'm
laughed
about to
so hard
say
he farted.
the cheat code, right? Oh, I don't want to say this. Okay.
You don't already open the gate up.
I'm gonna say that there's certain people that are gonna get a pass no matter what. I think that
Mm.
they're depending on the level or intensity of the attraction or the connection. There are certain things that are gonna
But
get
there ain't gonna be
overlooked.
no like so there are levels to it even on the first
I
date.
think
Okay.
so. I think so.
So
I think
some guy
so.
might be able to fart on the first date.
Because under
You know, I'm trying to follow which.
Cause
I'm trying to
then
follow
you
what
gonna
you.
want me to say, well, which guy? Like,
You don't want to say
I'm
it,
trying to
dog.
tell you that because before we even get to the first date, there's been conversation, right? There's been interaction. So you know, and I'm being totally honest. You know, if this first date is, oh, I'm excited, I can't wait. Or if this first date is, I mean, the conversation was okay, but let me see, maybe it's different in person, right? Like there's a different energy behind a first date, right? And what I'm saying is, depending on what that energy is, that would possibly be a determining factor on if somebody farted and got a second date. Now, if the energy was, I don't know, I mean, he seems cool, the conversations haven't really been all that, but maybe he's different in person, and then he farts, there's a good chance that was like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. Because nothing is black and white. Nothing is gonna be. It's always gonna be this, or it's never gonna be this. If people are being honest, there's all and if oh, there's a lot of reasons why somebody might get cut off for that, and why somebody else may not.
Okay.
I just can't give you all the reasons behind it. But
Listen, what if the guy you attracted to fart just smelled so much worse? No, I'm just playing.
I
I'm just
can't.
playing. I'm just playing. I'm just messing
It'd be
with you.
like, oh, baby, you might need an
Right,
enema.
it levels to everything. You know
When's
what
the
I'm
last
saying?
time you had a cleansing?
You might be like, much as I like you, for I just don't like what you putting in you.
Or what's
Oh,
coming
what's
out
coming
you?
out you, right? I think I'm gonna give Leroy a shot at a next date. Okay.
But I'm just saying, I think it's different,
Yeah. All right, I'm with you. I'm
and I
with you.
mean, and I think that's why this is not an exact science because there's no
Right.
way for us to tell somebody like why this happened, and and it doesn't happen for other people.
So
But
I guess so.
I don't think that really, I don't know that constitutes being untruthful if you don't fart. Because how many dates
You
have
ain't
you
being
been
truthful
on where
with yourself.
everybody farted though? Because
Well, I mean, listen, we don't know that. Listen, that could be one of the things that a lot of people just being very untruthful about. We sitting down at the restaurant, you over there bubbling. You know what I'm saying? Cause you want to be cute and don't want to mess up. You don't want to come off and you know what I'm
you know
saying?
what I do tell, what I do say, and I don't know how much women do this these days, but in the past I've known a lot of women who won't order for real, like they'll order a salad,
You know what I'm
or,
saying?
or they or something like that,
I
or
don't want that.
huh?
See, I don't want that.
But
I
but
want you to be you, man. I need to know.
but that's my point. I am in agreement with you 100% because that actually informs how things go after that, right? For better
So,
or for worse.
but what we so this is I think, and just being 100% honest. This is where I think the problem comes in. We both want people to be as authentic or 100% authentic as possible as they can.
Hmm.
But the issue that we having is we know why they're not, cause we're not.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It's like an oxymoron almost. Like we want people to be that way, but we know why you not being that way. And if you were that way, guess what? You probably won't get a second interview. So what are we talking
Well,
about?
I think that the things that I hold back on wouldn't be deal breakers, but then again, it might be.
Because right, because to your same point,
Somebody might think I'm
and
high maintenance, or
well, I wasn't gonna go with high maintenance, but to some guys, when you say like your professionalism and what you do, it could be a magnet for certain men, but certain men it could be a turnoff. They could be like, man,
absolutely.
this is just gonna be too much wordplay. I can think she's just gonna be too smart. I ain't got time. You know what I'm saying? So it can
It's
go.
gonna be she's too high maintenance
So
in a
still to
sense
your
of
point, coming
not
off
financially, but just
mentally,
to talk to
yeah,
her is
just to
gonna be
talk
too
mentally.
much, right?
It's gonna be too much of a tangle. So just to your point, going back to what you said earlier, whether still it goes back to that point, you letting someone know what you do and who you are can adversely affect you getting an opportunity at a second date.
If I tell you what I do for a living, and then that somehow deters you from wanting to go out with me again, I'm okay with that. Like
Oh yeah.
I would rather that be the case, right? Because
Well,
I
no,
don't want
no,
to deal
you
with a
would you
dude who
would
feels
rather
like, huh?
no, and I'm gonna cut you off right here because no, you would rather you say something and it doesn't have that impact. That's what you would rather have.
I'd rather meet a man who I
Right,
could tell that to and him not feel a
right,
way about it, right?
right.
But my thing is, I don't want to talk to the man who is somewhat intimidated by it, but decides to stay on because of what he thinks he might be able to benefit from it.
And this is what I'm noticing too. This is our second thing. See, I deal more in probability. So when I be speaking more about probability. And I think you speak from a more of a standpoint where like I think you be thinking I come from is either or, it's black and white. I speak more from a probability
What do
standpoint.
you
Because I'm
mean?
gonna say this once again. When you tell somebody, when you tell somebody who you are off the muscle when you meet them,
Hmm.
you would rather it not adversely affect them, right? You would rather it not affect them in an adverse way, right? But over your life experiences, when you tell people that, the probability when you tell people that it affects them in an adverse way, you've been burned more times than not, right?
Yes.
Right. So from a probability standpoint, when you do that, it's more likely that you
Likely that I'm
get
going to,
burned.
yeah.
Right. So that's why it's a good reason why you don't do it. That's why you approach things differently because the probability of it happening is more likely than not.
Yeah.
Right.
The
That's why
case.
you put in certain protocols or you approach people certain ways with, with how you talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is we all go back to what I just said. As much as we want people to be as genuine as possible, we know why they're not. Because there are certain safeguards and things that they have on their end, just like we have on our
Hmm.
end, that causes this people having to peel the layer of the onion back. Because if we don't and we just come full force hit like it's probably a probability wise relationship wouldn't be happening as often as they do.
So
Granted,
what
they still may fail, but you may not get to second and third interviews or chances at. You know when I meet you
when
and
you
when you
meet
meet me, you know for whatever reason as good and as honest as we think we would like to be, but we both know in our back of our head that's her representative, is his representative.
as we start to kind of wrap up, what I really want to the message that I would love for people to take from this is none of us are perfect,
Right.
right? One. Two, I think that there are differences in in holding information back. You know, some people say a lie is a lie. So whether you omit something, it's a lie, or whether you just flat out lie, it's a lie. I mean, I'm not here to debate that. No matter why you do it, no matter if you omit or you lie, I would say that, a lot of it is protection. Whether I'm trying to protect myself from being rejected or I'm trying to protect myself from being selected, for bad reasons. I think all of it boils down to an effort of trying to protect myself.
Now that part I would piggyback off you with, because I would lean towards the more of trying to get to the second interview. That's all I'm about. But the word protection makes a lot of sense too. Now that's something I didn't think about or would not have thought about until you brought up the whole point of your career, blah blah blah, this and that. So once again, I think as much as we want to ask the question and put it out there, I think we already know the answer to it because we do the same.
I agree. I think we ask the question. I think people ask the question because they are frustrated because of whatever the dating scene is right now, right? But to your point, if people actually were able to sit back and have this conversation, they would probably be able to come to the same conclusion.
Doc,
What?
it goes back to this old saying right here. You want the truth, you can't handle the truth. I just think the truth is sometimes just too real. Like, go back to what we said, just too heavy,
Too heavy.
metaphorically speaking. It can be too heavy for people. So, what I'm saying, so go back to our first episode. Joc, how I look in this outfit today? Do you want the Joc answer or do you want the politically correct answer, right? Sometimes the truth can just be too heavy, right?
Yeah.
So it could be a situation like where my wife just asked me how she looking at outfit. I might just need to know better to withhold my truth in that situation. Not that I'm being disingenuous to be disingenuous. It just
I think it
for
goes.
me to be my wife to be happy, happy wife, I need to say that. In a date, certain things I may hold back. Not that I'm being disingenuous. I'm just gonna hold it back maybe to a later time. So I can see you again. Because if I say this now, I might not get to you. Or to protect myself.
Or protect. I mean, protection. Period. Right. I just think it goes back to motive. Like what you were describing to me was more about the motive behind why people do stuff. And I think that a lot of times people can be okay once they understand the motive, right? If the motive is not to hurt or dupe me, it feels different than when it is. So even your honesty, which could be really, really painful, I don't think the motive behind you doing it is ever painful.
Hey Doc. I listen, Doc. I know I be over here talking and some of the shit I be saying may not sound right at the time. But earlier in the show, I literally said, for you, it's almost a burden sometimes for you to come off and be honest. Because if you come off and being honest, that could shift that person's whole I don't want to say out, but it could shift their whole motive for why they actually came up to you. They could have came up to you being genuine first,
Hmm.
but because of your honesty, that could change their motives. Not saying that it happened, but it could. Well, in your situation,
It does
probability
sometimes.
wise, it
Yeah.
normally does. So that's what I'm saying. So for you, it's almost like so when you ask the question, it's like you coming from a very genuine standpoint of why people just don't be upfront and honest. But you already know the answer for you anyway, right?
Hmm.
From a protection standpoint. So I would say for me, wow, I don't know if I would throw protection in there, but I almost kind of do because of my profession. So I kind of would say that too, but I never thought about that until you brought that up. But I come back more of the standpoint of how you worded it earlier. I forgot how you just put it. It was more about you didn't say morale. You used some term of
Motive.
motive. I come more from a motive standpoint. So yeah. So yeah, I think we're on the same page. As much as we have to sometimes beat the shit out this horse, I think we be on the same page a lot. I think maybe just the way that I speak sometimes, and maybe I don't tie things in sometimes, or
Yeah.
maybe you have a tendency to
You know what I
forget
would say,
things
Shawty?
sometimes.
I would actually say that we are a perfect illustration of how men and women interact.
Mm,
Men and women do not think the same. We're not
yes,
hardwired the same, right? And I really think that I think our misunderstandings or disagreements playing out on screen is really a reflection of how it happens. It's just for different reasons and different topics. Because again, we we do not always think the same. And I
Mm-hmm.
think where we go wrong is getting frustrated because what I am saying, I'm expecting you
Mm-hmm.
to think exactly like I am. And sometimes vice versa. And then it's frustrating because I don't understand why you don't get it, right? Or vice versa. So I actually don't think that it's about I understand everything you say,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that the
Now you
viewers
sound like
connect
me.
to you, right? But I think that I think it's just men think differently, women process
So,
differently, right?
so this is what I would say. And to that point, one thing, and I agree with you in totality, actually. But one thing I would add to that is as different as we are, I think we generally have the same goal. And for some reason, no matter what, though, we have a way to, maybe because you're a doctor, I don't know. But we have a way that to communicate. At the end of the day, I think we get to where we try to go. And then, for me at least, I realized where the miscommunication was
Me too.
and how it could be smoother in that next interaction. I won't have that issue again.
Yeah. And so can I. So if I was going to help them, because not everybody has a doctor, and I would say that maybe part of that is it. I would say for me, a bigger part of it is when you're interacting with someone who you really truly respect, and on some level you have a sense of where this person is coming from. I
Mm.
think you're more willing to try to hear
More
them
open
out
minded. Mm-hmm.
longer, right? Because if we just had this hiccup, okay, let me shut up a minute and let me listen to try to hear what it is I'm missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then now I can get on the same page. And if I still can't, then maybe we need to keep talking until we get there. Because I respect him and because I know ultimately, no matter what his delivery is, no matter whether he chooses to go 285 or come straight up 20, I know we're both trying to get to the same place.
Right.
We're just going about it different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens sometimes is people don't extend that same courtesy to each other. Is that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes let's lead with respect. Let's lead with, okay, there's a difference here. And, let me just shut up. Sometimes you just get out your own way. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
wants to be right.
Right.
And it's not always about, in relationships,
Right.
it's not always about being right. Sometimes it's just
Mm-hmm.
about and it ain't even about being heard. Because people say everybody wants to be heard. I hear everything you're saying. That
Right.
doesn't mean I understand it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that more so than anything, people want to be understood,
Mm-hmm.
right? Especially from someone who you actually care what they think. So I think whether I'm a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer or whatever, I think that the dynamic between two people, it has to be where I actually respect this person and I actually care about what he thinks.
So for y'all, I don't know. Listen, so I don't know how much of this is gonna get edited out, but if but if y'all seen this whole show, you know what I mean. I don't know how much is gonna get edited out, and this could probably be a therapy session in itself, right? In communication and things like that.
Yes.
So yeah, but so I don't know, we might have some blooper scenes or something maybe later on we might throw out or something, but I don't know. But I hope we answered the question from both standpoints in totality.
Yes.
Uh,
To
because
to ask it back to you, why do people not give the most authentic version of themselves in the beginning? Right?
okay, so if
And
I had to answer that question now based off this conversation we had, which I've gotten better again, I always take something from these conversations. And I'm gonna speak for myself personally. I'm not gonna speak for other
the
people.
general,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna speak for myself personally. Now that I've had time to think about it and reflect, I think maybe why mm, I'm not as 100% honest, and maybe my representative comes off as the way it does is because I really think from a career standpoint, I try to protect myself because I don't want the conversation to become about me and my occupation. That's another reason I don't like to tell people that I played sports in the past. Because then I don't want the conversation to go about football, Georgia this, who you played with, what they doing. You still talk to them. Blah, blah, blah. NFL this, blah, blah, blah. So that type of thing. So from a protection standpoint, I didn't realize that's why I was doing it, but you made me aware of that. So I do it from a protection standpoint. And I also do it just from a, I guess the other word we use, from a motive standpoint.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I guess that's the reason why I'm not 100%, because I would like to say some of those things, my motives, and what I do and who I am for later. I would like to get to know more about you before I let you know that much about me.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, there's all I can only speak for myself. You're gonna always meet my 70, 80, 90% representative.
Right.
And you're gonna have to be able to. I think it's more attractive to me if you want to pull the layers back.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to give you everything in the beginning. So whatever I give you in the beginning, with whomever my representative is in the beginning, hopefully that's enough for me to warrant a second interview or a date. But those are my reasons why I'm not 100% go uh,
And if
on
I
first
was
impression.
to answer the same question now, after this conversation, I, if I was being transparent, at some point in this conversation, I found myself being very vulnerable and didn't
Mm.
realize it. So when you had me, kind of talk about why I don't know why I'm not as forthcoming about what I do for a living, and then to kind of circle back about why that is, being protective, and what I've been through. I think in my head I started to just remember situations and how things went. And even though I didn't
Realize.
verbalize that, my energy shifted, and I don't know
Mm.
if you
I
realized it.
did.
My energy shifted, and I became more defensive,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually what happens sometimes when people feel the need to protect themselves, right? So the doc is not perfect,
Listen, the
and though
camera gonna show the shift of the energy if it ain't edited out.
I definitely will. I actually
My
want
energy shifted too.
I want people to see that, right? I want people to see that really sometimes no matter what your title is or what you do for a living and how much you know, you're still human, right? And we still experience things. And so through that conversation, I don't know if you realize, but at some point I actually just kind of got quiet and I started
Mm-hmm.
listening more. But
That's
for
a,
me it was more reflective. Like in my head, Sandy, what's going on? Why are you, what is this push pull that you are exhibiting, right? Because I'm very self aware, which is
mm-hmm.
why I tell you guys it's so important to know yourself, right? Because once I shut up and I listened to what you were saying, then I was able to come up with, okay, we we're saying the same thing for different reasons, but the interesting part is it's for the same ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks different, right? And for me, protection came. That word came because I felt it in the moment of me feeling the need to protect myself, right? So I think that,
And your viewers.
and my viewers, and me just being mama bear like I
Mm-hmm.
do, but that's all about feeling the need to protect people who sometimes don't have a voice,
Mm-hmm.
or don't know how to, right? Because I am very articulate, but not everybody is. And so sometimes what I see is people just get frustrated and shut down, but because I have the verbiage, I'll do it, right? But then it comes off different. So I think I learned a lot about
Yeah.
myself. Like you always say, you learn something about
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Well, here is a situation where Dr. G was taken to school and learned about herself. And I just really want our viewers to see that there's nothing wrong to me. That there's the beauty in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And being able to, no matter where you are in life, being able to interact with people who can still elevate you and kind of continue to help you become a better version of yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
I I am humble.
Well, I mean, knowing is half the battle. I mean, self awareness is part of all of us getting better. So, like I said, that's why I have no problem admitting to wrongs and faults. At least try not to have any wrongs, to admitting faults, because I'm always trying to get better. So, yeah, I mean, with that being said, I mean, that's once again, that's one of the, I guess, unforeseen or unquantifiable metrics of this podcast is the things that we learn from each other ourselves that other people may not pick up on. So if this is put into the show, then this would be something that you have found out behind the scenes. That even to this day, we each getting better. We each trying to learn each other on this podcast. Uh, just as people in general, and having these conversations, and depending on what you see, trust me, it was not uh made up. It was all authentic. You know what I'm saying? In a respectful manner. Trust me, it's not like if you don't see it. Trust me, it was nothing disrespectful or nothing like that. But you did see some authentic behavior from the
Interaction.
doc and the jock, just on general conversation and having that uh, authentic conversation ultimately helped us get to the point where
And
we are now.
the Joc keeps saying if it's not edited out, it won't. 'Cause
I think it should be.
you do?
Yeah, because again,
I think people
we just
sometimes need to see it
but
though.
we just now mean the people. They don't. They got
They
to
don't
peel
need
the layer back. They don't
to.
need to know everything. Yeah.
Right, they're like, damn, what the fuck's wrong with them?
Right. That might be too heavy, folks. You know what I'm
Right. Oh,
saying?
so here we
Yeah, we're
go.
gonna break them
We
in.
developing relationships with people,
Yeah.
and we just got to give it to them in
Right. We're
doses.
gonna
I
break them
got
in.
it.
Yeah,
I
we're gonna
got
break
it.
them in.
I got it. I
A little
got
bit
it.
more, they're gonna get to learn more and more about us until
And then we can have those.
if you slap me on camera, it won't be like wow.
Like I was wondering how long it was gonna take.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I got
There
you.
you go.
I got you. Well, with all that being said, again, thank you all for locking in with us and enjoying our content. Please let us know what your thoughts are in the comments, and we will do our best to try to respond. As much as we can.
Yeah, same here. I enjoyed it, man. The second episode, I really enjoyed it. It was very informative for me. I enjoyed the back and forth, and I look forward to having more of these conversations, more of these episodes. And I think each episode should get better from a production standpoint and just from a content standpoint. So I'm all with it, man. Into the next show, whether it be live or recorded. You know what I'm saying? I'm with it. I'm
Yep.
ready. Let's get it.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you later.